Good evening, Midnight Coders, and welcome. Today, we are going to be talking about the JDBC. Now, if you don't know what that is, don't worry. I'm going to break it down for you. We're going to sip some coffee, we're going to talk some code, and I'm going to tell you what all these things do. Break it down so that you understand it. By the end of this video, you're going to be able to connect to a database. So, first things first, guys. Make sure you got that full cup of coffee, and let's dive on in. All right, guys. So, what is JDBC? JDBC is the Java Database Connectivity. It is an API or an application protocol interface that allows developers to talk to the database. This is the standard way that Java applications communicate with Postgres, MySQL, Oracle database, and other SQL databases. It bridges the gap between Java application and database server. Without it, there's no built-in way to talk. There's just no built-in way. So let's see how we go about adding this in. So first we're going to pop in and we're going to add in a couple of dependencies. The first one is going to be the driver. So in our case, this is going to be um, this is going to be a dependency. The artifact in our case is going to be Postgres. And thank you. Look at that. Thank you, JetBrains. All right, so the next thing we're going to add in is actually, again, JetBrains. This is one of my favorite annotations when it comes to working with. So I'm going to take in annotations from JetBrains, and we're going to grab the latest one. So what this is going to introduce, just hold on, it's going to blow your mind. All right, so now in here, I have just a simple Docker database. Sorry, not Docker, a simple Postgres database. Um, and just going to make sure we have what we got here. Was it 18? Was there 19? No, 18 is the late. Looks like it's the latest. All right, we're going to snag this one. Now, when we run this guy and spin it up, boom, that's simple because I have Docker. If you don't know what Docker is, don't worry. Just know that I'm running a database on my local computer. If you want to know more about Docker and how you can get yourself set up, get yourself going and whatnot, let me know in the comments. I'll make a video on it. I'll explain it all. Anyway, back to the code. So in here, I'm just setting up that I'm just telling it that I want a Postgres database, giving it a name, passing in some variables, database name, username, password, and the port that I'm exposing. And down here is just a health check so that we can make sure everything's good, healthy, and on board. I hit the run button, so now we can see it's down here. That is perfect. All right, so if we come up here, hit our little plus, go to our data source, hit our Postgres data. We are going to come in here and we are naming this Midnight database. We are providing it with the username of Galabe and the best password in the world, Midnight Coder. If you're not using it, you should. We are changing this port because I have something else running on my default port, so this is just a thing for me. If we hit that test connection button, you'll see that green succeed. So now we can hit apply, hit OK, and you'll see up in the top corner we have our database. Look at that. There's nothing in it. Woohoo! So what do we need to do now? We need to quickly populate this database. So we're going to come in here and we're going to say create table. Apparently that didn't like my thing. So we're going to say create table. And this is going to be table of users. And in it here, we are going to be telling it, there we go, that we want a username, which is going to be a varchar, and we're going to say that we're going to allow it to be 100 characters. Why not? Sure. However, we are going to say this is not null and that it must be unique. So next, we are going to say the password. Basically that, yes, except I'm just going to call this text. I forget exactly the reason behind that. Let's not think too deep into it. All right. So now that we have this, we're going to hit the run. Everything's going to be good. We'll see that we have a table completed, and that table has some columns. Perfect. Next, we can pop out of here, and now we can dig into some actual code. So, how do we? Well, let's talk code. Let's make a new class, main, and I do not like that. That is horrendous. We are going to go with main, whoops, void main, there, and let's get rid of that package because that's irrelevant right now. Cool. All right, welcome to Java 25. So, in here, we are going to say that we're going to have a var of URL, which is going to be equal to that of the URL. And we're just going to quickly grab that from the properties because I don't want to type that out, and I'm sure you don't want to sit here and watch me type that out. So there's our database. Next, we have a username. So in this case, the username was uh, Glabe. Whoop. And the password is something that you should always do. Put it in plain text. Sure. Never, never, never do this. This is just for development purposes. If you could not pick up on my sarcasm, I apologize. Don't ever do this. Don't. You know what? Don't even do this in development. Just don't. Um, but for the sake of this video, we're going to do what we shouldn't do. So next, we want to try something. This is almost right. Look at that. Except we're going to um, um, ignore that, and we're going to ignore that. So whoop, let's just ignore that because, we're not going to do anything wrong. So in here, I want to, and here's where you're going to get a little bit of magic that may or may not blow your mind. Let me know in the comments if this blows your mind. So, okay, we're going to create a var, which is going to be a string. This is going to be our address URL. Or sorry, not our address URL. This is our query. So we're going to say that this is going to be putting something into the code or putting something into our database. So we're going to insert username. Sure. We're just going to insert the username password. That's it. That's good enough. So the query looks a little bit like this. Okay. So this is cool, but we're also going to go off the assumption that I didn't make a typo, that this table users are actually right and the username and password is actually right. We're purely going off of assumption here that I didn't spell things wrong or use wrong syntax. Now, what if there was a way that we could syntax this? So check that out. See where the error was? Did anybody did anybody catch that error that I put in there before I put this in color syntax? I bet none of you caught that. If you did, let me know in the comments. However, now that I've added this at language, um, the at language annotation can be placed on top of strings as well as string templates to provide an LSP syntax highlighting. Now, that's not all, okay? That's not all. For our use case, this actually connects with the database. It pairs up with a schema and it lets you know if things are right or wrong. For example, if I had an extra value here, but I say don't have an extra value here, this provides me with an error saying two values are expected, but we only got, or sorry, but we got three. So that right there lets me know that I need to. You see this where I'm missing one, tells me an error. It only that it's missing. So also if I misspelled password, uh, now this goes red, tells me I have no that there's an error, and it tells me to choose a schema. But like that's just your way of knowing that you spelt something wrong or did something wrong because it's also underlined. So now you can see why I like this. All right. So what am I doing? There. A little life hack if you didn't know, with thanks to IntelliJ, if you're in the middle of a sentence or something or the middle of a line, if you hold the Shift key and press the Enter key, it will drop you to the next line without having to like go to the end of the line and then hit a new line. I love IntelliJ. All right, so with this query, we want to now make a statement out of it. So we're going to call this var, exactly what that did, statement. We're going to tell this, okay, now that we've made a connection, we want to prepare the statement. And I also just realized I didn't tell you what the hell this is doing. So up here, we're saying that we want a connection. So we're going to reach out to the driver manager and we're going to get a connection. The driver manager will then look at the URL and parse out the driver it needs. In our case, Postgres. So the driver itself will then verify that the head, I'm just going to call this part the head because it looks for this part at first. It looks to verify that this exists and it is valid. The first part is the protocol, JDBC. The next part is the driver name, in our case, PostgreSQL. So once we're in there, it looks for the double slash, and it drops the first part of the head of the string, and you're only left with the remaining URL. So at that point, it's then going to strip the double slash and it's going to take the address, generate a connection, and return you that connection. So once we once the driver understands what's going on, it's then going to open up a TCP socket for the database. So that's where the URL comes in. It's going to perform an authorization with the username and password that we also provided, and then it's going to negotiate a protocol that is going to be used to communicate because MySQL, Postgres, and Oracle, they all use SQL as a language, but their protocols are slightly different. So this just is a way that allows us to communicate with the database. There then is returned a connection. Um, Now, this prepare statement that we're doing is it is going to take in this whole string as a prepared statement, and then it's going to need to it's going to then take these here question marks as wildcards. And so what the next thing that we're going to do here is exactly what that did. Um, so we're going to use the statement and we're going to set a string. And we're going to say that we're going to put it at the parameter index of 1, which is the first one. And that would be the value of username that's coming in um, from the top. Same thing with this with number 2. It goes in the second parameter. It's the password. Now, there are other setters. If we pop in to here, and if you're wondering how I did this, I middle mouse clicked. So if you have a mouse that has a scroll wheel and you can click that scroll wheel, if you click on a method name, it will take you to that method's declaration. In our case, it comes here, and we have this on the side, tells us that it has one implementation. So if you're curious like me, you click on this, and it takes us into our PG prepared, so that's Postgres, prepared statement. So this is Postgres's implementation of it. So here's where we check to see what it does. First thing it does is check to see if the connection is closed. If it does, it stops everything right there. Otherwise, it sets the string. Now you can see here that there are setting strings, there are setting big decimals, there are setting doubles, there are setting floats, longs, ints, shorts, bytes, everything. You can crawl through here all you want to see all the others. However, um, you just need to tell it what you're setting, whether it be set string, tell it what index, and tell it what the data is. Hope that makes sense. Next, we need a way to execute this. So we're going to do just what the autocomplete said and call statement.execute. Now, the idea here is that prepare statement will prepare the SQL query template. Set string sets the data. There are others, again, you can explore that. The execute query, this is actually going to run the prepared query against the database. And then, of course, in our case, we're done. But now I want to be able to see what I did. So how do we get that data? Okay, that now we're gonna come in here and we're gonna do another language. This is gonna be another SQL one, and this bad boy is going to be my second query. And this is almost what we're doing. We're just looking to select all from users. So now the next thing that we're looking to do here is create a, yeah. So here we're looking to take the connection. We're looking to create a statement, which in our case we're looking to just create a generic statement and execute a query. And we're going to pass in the query that we just created. From there, um, what we want to do is go over the result. So basically what this did, um, so we're going to say here, while the result set has another result, we're then going to go through and we're going to get the result that we're at, or the result of what we want. And in our case, we want username, which is the same as the query up here. So what does that look like? Pretty simple. I really hope that that explanation helps you understand what it is. So now let's take a look and run the program. There. As you see, what was printed to the screen was just the name or the username of each of the users in our database. So In our case, we only have the one user. Um, if we were to pop into here into our database and we were to add a few more of these and just say something like Dragon Boy or Dragon Bot, good game. We'll say Ocean Fairy, good game. Pokey, good game. Not null. So if we just throw some random stuff into our database, and do this, there we go. Now if we rerun our program, did I really mess this up? Oh, that's because of the first statement. So if we take that out and we look at just reading the database, you'll see there, it prints out all the names. So that is that. Hey, 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 you, before we go, what if you don't want to connect to a database? What if you wanted to connect to a file? Well, if you can see in the top corner there, way in the top corner, I'm going to show you how to connect to SQLite. All right, so we're going to swap out our Postgres database for a SQLite JDBC. So that way we just simply swap out the driver. Everything else is going to stay the same, sort of. So next we're going to pop into the Midnight coder, and we have to now say that this is JDBC SQLite, and we get rid of the two slashes, and we just provide a path name. Okay, so because we're in the root directory already, .data is going to go to this .data folder, and we're looking for the file name uh, midnight, midnightdatabase.db, which we have up here. So if we come back into our, and this first chunk of code is just us creating the table if it doesn't exist. So if we come into here, data sources, SQLite, and we tell this that we have midnight database dot db, but we're in dot data slash, that's all we need to do. Hit test connection, solid, apply, okay. Now we have our database up here, and you'll see that we have two users, or sorry, I'm in tables. Uh, so now if we run our application again, it should technically have created the database. And if we refresh this, we have our users table now with our username and password. And if we pop into users, we'll see that we don't have anything. So I'm going to add in Glabe with a password of good game and Pokey with a password of coffee. Because Pokey's addicted to coffee. I'm not addicted to coffee. No, not at all. Okay, so we're done here. We're gonna pop back, get rid of that, get rid of that. We're in here. We're doing good. We're doing well. Let's see what this has, okay? Let's see. So let's get rid of this and put this back to where we were. All right, I want to list out all the users in my database. Go. Pokey and Glave. Done. Got it. That's all, folks. All right. That is the JDBC in a nutshell, or in, yeah. I really hope that you guys found that useful. I hope that you've learned something. If you did, let me know. If you want more, hit that subscribe button. And don't miss an episode or a video. Drop comments. Let me know what it is you want to see. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know your favorite type of coffee. If you've made it this far, Let me know if you like penguins. All right, guys. As always, keep your curiosity open, your skills sharp, and that coffee cup full. I'll catch you in the next one, guys.